Hi guys, it's Hania here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to make another gingerbread house. I am going to show you how to make a really cute gingerbread birdhouse. We're going to do a few techniques in this tutorial. I'm going to first share with you how I make my wood texture. Then we're gonna do royal icing pine cones and also this beautiful wreath. I am using my gingerbread cookie dough recipe for centerpieces, and now let's get started. So we're going to decorate 4 panels, front and back and both side panels, with a wood plank texture. So we're gonna start by adding a thin layer of dark gray onto the front, back and both side panels. Then we are going to have to let that dry completely. To make the wood planks, I am going to use stiff royal icing, and I colored my royal icing in 3 shades of gray: light, medium and dark. First we're going to spread a layer of light gray, Now to add some interest to my wood planks, I'm going to add medium gray and also dark gray, and then use a spatula to spread it, but don't play with it too much. You want the light gray, the base, still be visible through the medium and dark gray. You just want a little bit of interest in there. To even out the surface and to make deeper ridges, I am using a small icing comb, and I'm also going to use another tool that you would not necessarily use with cookie decorating, but I find toothbrush works really well for this. When getting rid of the residue from the bristles on your toothbrush, make sure you use dry paper towel. Try not to use wet paper towel, because then you will transfer the moisture onto your royal icing and then it won't really work as well. Once you're happy with how it looks, you can take a long spatula, or you can also use a ruler and make the planks. Now these don't have to be the same width. I am trying to make them same width, but they don't really have to be. You're gonna have to wipe your tool, whatever you're using, either it's a ruler or a spatula, into a clean paper towel to remove residue from the blade. So really crucial is to use stiff royal icing, so it's not going to move on you too much and the ridges will be nicely visible. Now I'm making some knots, so I added some darker icing, and then swirling motion with a needle tool you can create a knot. And you're gonna have to repeat this on the back panel and also both of the sides panels, like I mentioned before. Now this is a really rewarding technique because you can't really go wrong. I find it's rather easy to do. Here I'm just cleaning up the ridges a little bit. Alright, so now that's done and we can move on and start working on the wreath. I am going to make the wreath on a piece of parchment paper. Underneath there I have my just the template for the ring, so I can make a somewhat perfect circle. And I'm starting with the brown royal icing, making the ring. You can also use green royal icing if you wish. I wanted you to see clearly where I'm piping the needles, so that's why I'm doing the brown. So you just want to do few loops and then we can start with the needles. So to make the needles, I am actually using 2 different shades of green. I'm using leaf green as the base, and then I'm going back with green that I colored with leaf green, and I also added some moss food coloring, so it's a bit deeper than a leaf green and darker. This way you get a more, I find you get a more realistic look for the needles. Now this was a bit of a tedious process, but I find that the final result, it's really nice. We're gonna have to let the wreath dry overnight. So while that's drying, we can make the pine cones. To make the pine cones, you're gonna need stiff royal icing that you colored with some brown food coloring, flower nail, and small parchment squares. Notice my piping tip is facing mainly up, like the narrow part of the piping tip is facing up and the wide part is close to the nail, close to the flower nail. And basically you are piping short strokes, starting with one stroke, then you're gonna add 2 strokes, 3 strokes, and you're gonna finish with 2 strokes. These need to be rather small, so you just want tiny little strokes so you can create tiny little pine cones. We're going to have to let these dry overnight as well. Once these are dry, we can simply peel them off from the parchment like this. And then we are also going to add some white sanding sugar to these. So to make my sanding sugar a little more snowy like, I am using mortar and pestle to make it finer, but you still want little bigger pieces in there as well. So pipe some white royal icing just randomly. Try not to go on all of the strokes, just random application of royal icing, and then dip it into that white sanding sugar. And that's it. So you can set these aside. Now we're going to peel off the wreath from the parchment. That was super easy, right? To stick it onto the cookie, I'm adding rather thick layer of icing on the back of the wreath. Because remember, our texture on the cookie that we are adding the wreath on, it's pretty rough texture, so it's not really even. So you want to make sure that you have enough icing on there so it will stay in place. But don't add too much, clearly, because you don't want it to ooze out. Just enough so it stays in place. Now I'm just going to glue 2 pine cones on my wreath like this. I'm also going to have 2 birds on each side, so I'm going to ice each of those the same. To get this nice red color, I used super red food coloring, and I actually added a touch of brown. Let it crust, and then you can add the wing with white royal icing. And then we're gonna have to let that dry completely to use edible marker to make the eye. Alright, so we are now ready to put this together. I'm using a round gingerbread piece for the base and brown stiff royal icing for the glue. It really is crucial to use stiff royal icing when you are putting gingerbread house together. If you have small bottles with sprinkles, you can use those to keep the pieces in place while the icing is drying. So first I like to build the base. I usually let it dry, if I have time, overnight, but if I don't have time, 3-4 hours it's sufficient. And then I like to add the roof. Now you're gonna need to hold the panels in place for about 30 seconds or a minute, and then you can prop it up with small bottles. Remove the excess icing if you wish. and we're gonna have to let this dry overnight. To make the roof, I am using nice teal colored royal icing. Again, this is stiff royal icing, and I'm using a large leaf by Pink Tip. Now take white sanding sugar and dust the roof while the icing is still wet, and then you can repeat that on the other side. Fill in the gap, if there is a gap at the very top between two panels, with some royal icing and let that crust. To decorate the base, I just decided to add random spots of white royal icing dusted with white sanding sugar, and then glue pine cones on there. I'm finishing up the roof by adding a few more layers of shingles. And to decorate the very top, I'm just going to press small gingerbread stars that I baked. And there's one more thing left to do. We need to glue our cute little red bird, and you're gonna have to prop it up with a small bottle to keep it upright, and leave it like this for about an hour or two. And here is the finished gingerbread birdhouse. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making the wreath, and I think it looks really nice. I'm really happy how that turned out. Initially I wanted to pipe that directly on the cookie, but I think doing it with royal icing transfer really made it stand out and made it look more real. If you are new to my YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also don't forget to hit the bell button so you get notified about my new uploads. And for those of you who are long-time subscribers, thank you guys so much for watching my videos, for commenting, for liking my videos. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time, guys. Don't forget to tune in on Monday. I have a really special video prepared for you. We're gonna be doing 8 cookies in one tutorial. See you then.